Yo, what's up, guys? Mike Patrick. This video is going to be a spiritual video. Please listen to this video from a spiritual context. I'm going to be talking in a form of coming from a spiritual perspective. This is not a religious video. Therefore, you can miss me with judging this video and judging me from a religious standpoint, okay? Some people are so religious that they have no spirituality. They're spiritually retarded. And a lot of times that's because you may not have any choice. See, a lot of people that are extremely religious and they try to demonize anything spiritual, all right, is people who don't have any spiritual talent or spiritual gifts and things of this nature. And so therefore it's real easy to demonize someone else that has it because you don't have it. So it makes sense why you would be stuck in a religious mind frame, okay? Now, with that said, guys, I want to talk about how some of you guys are the spiritual, karmic, ancestral mediator for your circle, okay? Now, what do I mean by that? For example, this is going to corroborate the video that I did yesterday talking about spiritual warfare, okay? And this is going to tie in with that video pretty good. All right, now, guys, some of you guys who've been diagnosed with things like bipolar, schizophrenia, all these different things that we have the 3D labels of calling them, you know, certain mental health diseases or conditions and things of that nature, and that's perfectly fine. But I'm talking about things from a spiritual standpoint now. Now, with that said, I was talking about how there's bliss. There's a lot of bliss. When you're manic, there's a lot of feelings of euphoria and heaven on earth and bliss, okay? But I don't want you guys to get it twisted, okay? Or I don't want to misrepresent the experiences, okay? Many of you guys also know that there is a lot of sometimes paranoia and sometimes it could be fear and feeling like you're in a state of you're in a place that is uncomfortable sometimes during your experiences, because it's something that is foreign and new. And like I said in previous videos, over time, the more that you have experiences, the more you are able to deal with them better, okay? But the first time or the first couple times may be very overwhelming if you're not prepared for what you are experiencing or what you are about to experience. And that's why that kind of piggybacks off the part of, in the previous video, I was talking about how the Most High gives you these experiences when you are ready for them, you know what I mean? And you are able to, as you have them, he gradually gives them to you in a way to where you're able to mature with them, grow with the experiences, and handle them better, okay? And digest it all better and deal with the experiences in a way to where you are not being a detriment to yourself or other people, okay? So that's why I was saying it's a lot of responsibility that comes with it, okay, guys? Excuse me. So it's like you're almost like a spiritual, ancestral exorcist. A lot of times is another good way of putting it. Now, with that said, I was talking about how all the experiences, you know what I mean, or every part of the experience, or the experience through the duration of the time, is not all happiness, bliss. You see what I mean? And feeling good and feeling euphoric, okay? Sometimes, like I said, there can be fear, there can be anger sometimes, you know what I mean? Impulsiveness in a bad way, in which you would consider a bad way. And so You know, and that's why I don't want this video to be a video that you're judging, because like I said, religious people, you know what I mean, are quick to tell you that anything like this is, or any of these type of experiences are demonic or demon possession or demonic influence and things like that. See, that's when you're being completely polarized and extremely religious, okay? And you're only working from a limited space and a limited amount of information and a very, very narrow and egotistical state of mind, okay? And then, like I said, but it's reasons for that, because we've been bred in a way to make us fear things like what I'm talking about right now, because, you know, there's agendas that were set forth, you know what I mean, many years ago, you know what I mean, a long time ago, okay, that puts us in that mind frame. So this is all part of what I'm talking about right now. Breaking, many of you are the people who are helping to break ancestral curses, okay, and family curses and just curses for people all together. Just doing videos like this gives a mind frame, gives people a way of thinking and things to consider in order to be able to say, well, maybe it is something to what he's saying. Let me look into that more. How do my experiences time up, you know what I mean, with what he's saying, okay? Can I add on to this? That's another reason I have to do these videos and share experiences, is because it's for some of you guys to hear and build on in different ways. Because it may be things that I experienced that when I experience it, I might not even totally understand it. But if I share it with somebody, or I share it with you guys and the right spiritual team and the right people, and I know that even people that's not on my team per se has access to these videos, but that's not what I'm worried about, okay? Or that's not what my focus or my aim is. That's not going to stop me from doing what I'm supposed to do, all right? Those type of things you leave into the Most High's hands, okay? But some of you guys may be able to connect certain dots, you know what I mean? When you hear me speak about certain things that I can't even connect the dots, or it's not meant for me to connect the dots on a particular experience or thing or information, but once you hear it, it might make sense to you, and it can help tie in. We all working together. We all are a team. For those of us who are a team, you know what I mean, a part of a team. All right, now guys, all right, so with that laid as the foundation, in one of my experiences, or let me talk about some of the more paranoia and things like that. Like, so I've talked about the bliss, I've talked about the happiness. Yes, that's all part of it. And yes, that's you can say that's the positive, the assurance, you know what I mean, of the situations, and knowing what's possible and knowing what's to come. But at the same time, it is spiritual warfare. The war is not completely over. And so it's also, when you have those experiences, it's also a training ground, so to speak. And so the whole experience might not be, you know what I mean, pleasant the whole time. A lot of you are like exorcists or spiritual healers, you know, ancestral curse breakers and things of that nature. And sometimes it's a tough job. You know what I mean? It's not an easy job. It's not an easy task. You know what I mean? It's nothing to play with, okay? And with that said, you have different experiences, man. And you have different energies. You have ancestral energy. When those doors are open, those portals are open, those gates are open, whatever you want to call these times where, but those of us who are sensitive enough are experiencing high supernatural activity, you know what I mean? And having highly supernatural experiences, whatever you want to call it, you know what I mean? At these times, guys, there's so much going on, and we are connected to our ancestors. We are connected to dead relatives and loved ones, and even people who might not be firsthand, you know what I mean, blood to blood related, as in the sense of, you know, a mother, father, brother, sister, uncle, cousin, you know what I mean? We all connected to a larger web, you know what I mean? A big web, okay? And so when you have a calling and when you have a duty that is bigger than yourself, then, you know, It's you know, you could be, look at yourself as a spiritual hero sometimes, you know what I mean? Or you could look at it that way, like you're fighting a battle that a lot of people can't fight, are not equipped to fight, or it might not be their calling to fight, okay? And like any other battle, when you go to war, you get in a fight, a street fight or something like that, sometimes there are no rules, sometimes things get dirty. Now this is the thing, you do have, if from my experiences, you do have protection from the Most High, okay? You do have a certain, it's only a certain point it can go to, you know what I mean, in a bad way. When I had my first experience, I done and said some things that, you know what I mean, now in hindsight, I can tell it was just the flow of the energy and the energy moving through you. Because you got to think, even with your ancestors, when these types of, in warfare with Satan and things like that, Satan gets angry. You have ancestors that have a lot of trauma. You have dead ancestors that wasn't able to deal with a lot of their traumas before they passed away from here and things like that. All this stuff gets stirred up on top of maybe your own traumas, on top of traumas of people who, you know, family members and friends and people a part of your circle, your spiritual family, that, you know what I mean, you're dealing with everybody's stuff at one time. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of chaos in that, if that's the word you want to use, okay? So, like I said, sometimes it takes a little time for certain things to be digested and for certain things to be made sense of, and things like that. And so, but at the time, it can be a little erratic, a little chaotic, and you know, it might have you even scratching your head. But I think what I'm learning too already, and what I can feel about it is, with each experience, if you're on the right path and you're doing what you're supposed to do, with each experience comes maturity. You know what I mean? And you deal with it better and better. You know what I mean? And things like that. And so, with that being the case, a lot of those, I think the negative experiences, or the things that you may look at as negative, you know what I mean? You more so are able to put those things in perspective, deal with them better when it happens, and utilize it in the way that it's meant to be utilized. Understand that may be some type of trauma-based energy, you know, that come from a part of you, be it whether it's you, whether it's your family, whether it's an ancestor, things like that. And you might pull it out, and it might be expressed through you. That's why a lot of times when you have, that's what schizophrenia is. A lot of times it reminds me of the movie Me, Myself, and Irene, when he was having, when Hank was fighting Charlie. You know what I mean? It was like they was literally going back and forth, like in 1 second, in one moment he'll be Charlie, and then in the next moment, literally a second or two later, he'll be Hank. You know what I mean? And things like that. He was just going back and forth like that for about 30 seconds to a minute. You know what I mean? Battling Hank with battling Charlie. And for those of you who don't know about that movie, that was about a schizophrenic guy. Okay? And so that type of things happen when you do have these, you can't have these little walk-ins and things like that if you're spiritual enough, and if you're sensitive enough, and if it's meant for you, because you are meant to handle that. It's like everybody can't go in and be an exorcist. Okay, what I'm saying is, it could be dangerous for it would be dangerous for the average person that's not adept enough, that doesn't have enough experience, that doesn't have a certain anointing and things of this nature, to just go in and try to do an exorcism. Make sense? So with that said, sometimes things can get rough. Another thing that happened, another good experience, or I feel like it's worth sharing, that somebody might be able to make sense of, or it just might be something that somebody need to hear, is also like with my last experience, it was like it was an androgynous type thing. You know what I mean? I guess you could say, where it kept coming up, like I felt like it was a lot of, or enough of, I'll put it this way, it was ancestral energy that was of a female, feminine energy. And I don't mean that in the sense of like feminine, like what I mean is this. All right, for example, I was under the impression that it felt like I was giving birth when they had me in the hospital. And I was now obviously I don't know what giving birth feel like. That's what I'm saying. When you are consumed with energy, sometimes you can share experiences and things like that. And so that's what I meant. It was like it was, for some reason, I was focused on the feminine aspect and respect for the feminine. And a lot of things I was saying and stuff like that, you could tell that it was like some type of ancestral feminine energy that was expressing itself through me, you know what I mean, and speaking through me sometimes. And it was just trying to get me to show reverence to it, because that is part of my spiritual journey in battle too, is, you know what I mean, I have been a bit of you know what I mean, I guess you could say a typical male, you know what I mean, overly masculine sometimes, you know what I mean, in my mind frame and in my ways of thinking and my appreciation for the opposite sex and things of that, so of that nature. So, you know, but you know, so when they had me in the emergency room or whatever, and I was handcuffed to the bed and things of that nature. I don't really want to talk about those more graphic details of the situations, but you know, the thing is, for some reason, it was like I was giving birth, and I was in pain. It was like it was an excruciating type of pain for however long I was in there. I would probably say like 5-6 hours. You know what I mean? What I'm assuming is, looking back on it, they had me in there for a certain amount of time. Every time I go in there, they shoot me with something. You know what I mean? To supposedly calm me down or whatever, I guess, before I can move on to the next, you know, to say the behavioral center or whatever, once I'm calmed down. So the thing is, though, it just, the whole time, it just, for whatever reason, it was coming through to me like I was giving birth. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, you know, I never gave birth before. Don't know what it felt like, but it was just like an appreciation for women and the feminine aspect and the feminine energy, and a lot of what they have to go through and things like that. And for some reason, it was just that, you know, could have been my grandmother, grandmothers, whoever, like, you know, whatever, that divine feminine was coming through this particular experience. And I had like experiences like that. Like I said, I remember them coming in, shooting me with something and saying this is for the pain, whatever. Just like I think they give women epidural shots and things like that. And that was just the theme, or what I was catching on to for some reason. So for whoever can, you know, if that makes sense, like I said, maybe I just explained what the meaning of it or the purpose was of it was, but you know, perhaps somebody can tie that in even better, you know what I mean, or that makes even more sense, or that hits the nail on the head for somebody. All right. But the point is, guys, many of you are the spiritual mediators in your circle, okay? You have a responsibility. With that responsibility, tying into the previous video from yesterday, tying in with that responsibility, there is a lot of spiritual warfare. The stronger you become, the more responsibility the Most High gives you, the more you have to be willing and adept and prepared for battle, okay? Because he uses us all in different ways, okay? Like, so a lot of times you have to realize that you are the Most High's battle axe. Sometimes a lot of times we always looking for somebody else to do something, but a lot of times the Most High, if not most of the time, the Most High use us. They can just be flat out supernatural, like just flat out overriding of what you would consider normal, you know what I mean? But a lot of times, man, a lot of stuff, the Most High gets it done through us. You know what I mean? A lot of stuff, he gets it done through us. So, like I said, once again, to piggyback off yesterday, hang in there, spiritual warriors. Always be doing your meditations and your prayers, and that getting those still moments, so you can realize when you are in an intense spiritual battle. And sometimes, you know what I mean, when you have those certain urges or those certain feelings, you can know that sometimes everything is not coming from you. You know what I mean? Sometimes the enemy is directly attacking you. You see what I mean? And putting certain energy into trying to make you feel a certain way or think a certain way, and to fall off your path, and to stop going, and you know what I mean, and to deter you or detour you. But this is just some inspiration to keep going and some context to things. All right, guys, peace.